Today we are going to learn about the instrument called as DNA sequencer. The DNA sequencer is an automated instrument which is being used to understand the sequence pattern of the DNA. Our DNA is made up of 4 bases or the nucleotides which are known as adenine, thymine, cytosine and guanine. Thus, the DNA sequencer is an instrument which will understand the pattern or the read or the sequence which consists of the bases. As we all know, the DNA sequence are the huge threads in the genome of the organism. So they all contains long threads of the nucleotide bases. So to read them or to understand the patterns, DNA sequencing process is carried on. So to understand the order of nucleotide bases in each strand, the DNA is sequenced using the DNA sequencer. This information is required for the growth and development of the organism to encode the genomic information. Thus, it is a fundamental step for the genome analysis and to understand the biological process in general. This is the brief history timeline how the DNA sequencer has been created. So in 1870, Frederick scientist has discovered DNA, and further few more scientists have worked on discovering the DNA. Therefore, it was very much necessary to understand the sequence of DNA. So for that, the Sanger scientists have discovered dideoxy chain termination method in 1977. Further, a more improvement has been carried on by scientist Gilbert in 1986 by the partial automation of the DNA sequencing. These are very basic methods to understand the DNA sequencing pattern, and few more analysis has been carried on later on so that the DNA sequence pattern can be understood. For example, NGS 454 pyrosequencing, which are more automated methods to understand the DNA sequencing patterns. After the DNA sequencing is completed, this is how the result looks in the plots. So if we see here, the T gives the color red in the peaks here, the C gives you the blue color, the G gives the dark green color, and A gives the green color. So these bases, as they are coming in the thread or in the red of whatever gene or the DNA sequence we are looking for, they will show the peaks. For example, if first A appears in the red, so it will give you a green peak. If G appears, then little dark green, then C blue, and T is for red. So we can understand the pattern of the gene sequence. These are few of the companies who manufactures the DNA sequences like Roche, Illumina Life Technologies, Beckman, Oxford, etc. Just to understand how the DNA sequencer work, we need to understand the sequencing methods also. So just quickly and briefly we will have a look to the Sanger and the Maxim Gilbert sequencing methods. Sanger method we all can see here. If we give the DNA sequence of the unknown sequence which serves as the template, because we need to understand the sequence pattern, we need to give it a template. This is an in vitro method. Thus, adding of the DNA polymerase enzyme plus DATPs, DCTPs, these are all the dinucleotide bases like DATPs for adenine, DCTPs for cytosine, etc. like this, and addition of the labeled primer. After this, when we mix all of them, we prepare the reaction mixtures in 4 tubes where the DD DATPs, DDCTPs, DDTTPs and DDGTPs are added in separate tubes, and wherever the sequence is getting terminated at the base A, thus we can have a look here from the first tube. So DDATPs will give us those sequences which get terminated at the base of A. DDCTPs will give us the sequences which get terminated at the base of C. And here, after when the reaction has completed, the DNA synthesis shows after the gel electrophoresis followed by the autoradiography. Autoradiography is a graphical representation or the fingerprint pattern where we can see how the sequence have aligned themselves based upon their cleavage. So here, when we can see the longer fragments can align on top and the shorter fragments align below, and the sequence can be read for the new strand after alignment and deduce the sequence of the template. This is the fourth step. Thus, this is a very great process, or it can be said it is a very useful method for DNA sequencing. The Sanger chain termination sequencing, this is just the brief of the last slide, where we can see the DNTP has this structure, whereas DDNTP has this structure. What is the difference? There is an OH attached here and here is an H attached. Whenever we want the chain to get terminated, we will add the DDNTPs, because here we have a look, if we have the OH group, that is the DNTPs, they will keep on joining themselves for the next thread, where it can create the phosphodiester bond with the next DNTPs. Whereas if we see in this chain, there is no OH bond, so there is no connection. Thus, when we add the DNTPs, they will try to terminate the chain. So this is in detail the same process. After we do all the process, or we put them in different separate tubes, we add all the Taq polymerases, templates, DNTPs and DDNTPs. Further, the PCR is run, which we have learned in the last lecture, and the gel electrophoresis is performed, and autoradiography is taken for the gene sequences, and the results are interpreted. This is how it looks when we start the initial reaction at the 5' and the 3' OH. There is the primer is being attached and template areas to be sequenced, because without the template the reaction cannot be performed. Further, the dideoxynucleotides are added separately to each of the 4 tubes. With them we add the DDNTPs, where we want to see the chain getting terminated. With the proper DNTP and DDNTP ratios, the chain will be terminated throughout the length of the template. All terminated chains will end in the DDNTP added to that reaction. The collection of fragments is a sequencing ladder. The result, terminated chains, are resolved by the electrophoresis process. So, here in the same picture, we can see that the 4 reaction mixtures are created, and these all things are added. After that, the synthesis is carried on, and in the gel electrophoresis process, they arrange themselves in the form of bands. Autoradiography is carried on to understand the gel band patterns, and further the sequences are created. This is an example of Sanger sequencing. There are 5 to 3' end sequences. The sequences are denatured, and the forward primer is used, that is 3 to 5' of the DNA. Once you add the DDNTPs, for example for thymine, so there we can see when TTP was added, the sequence get terminated at the T point, here at 3 and 3' and T. If DD-ATPs are added, TA at the 3 end of A, here A and A, the chain gets terminated. Similarly, there is another method that is called as Maxam-Gilbert sequencing method. This was developed by Alan Maxam and Walter Gilbert in 1976. This method is based upon nucleobase specific partial chemical modification of DNA. How it is done? Firstly, we can see here the 5' end of the DNA is being labeled. Further, the DNA samples are aliquoted in the 4 tubes, the way we have seen in the Sanger method. The only difference is the DNA 5th end is being labeled. Therefore, after the samples are aliquoted in the 4 tubes, the base modification reaction is started. There, the cleavage happens in the specific sites, and the similar process further is carried on like Sanger method, like gel electrophoresis, then autoradiography to understand the banding pattern of the sequence, and the results are interpreted. How the chemical modification of DNA is carried? It is done with the help of radioactive labeling at 5th end of the DNA. Normally, it is done by the kinase reaction using the 332P, that is phosphate ATP. Therefore, after this, the DNA fragment is being purified and is being sequenced. The chemical treatment generates the breaks in the DNA and they are run on the gel. How is the chemical modification taken place? We can see here the 5' end is being labeled with the phosphate 32. For chemical modification, dimethyl sulfate is being used, where the purines A and G, we can see here dimethyl sulfates, the guanine is added and dimethyl sulfate plus formic acid forms G plus A. Therefore, further, the cleavage of sugar phosphate backbone using the piperidine is performed. These are the selected specific steps. There is no change, so one has to refer to these steps. The base modification, if used by hydrazine, the pyrimidine, cytosine and thymine, how they are being chemically modified? Hydrazine, C plus T, hydrazine, NaCl when is added, there is C. So cleavage of sugar phosphate backbone using piperidine. So once we can have a look to the Maxam-Gilbert in detail, there is a DNA strand. The single strand is being obtained and further the 32 phosphate is added on the 5' end here, and there the chemical modification occurs at G, A plus G, T plus C and C, cleavage at specific nucleotides. And further, these DNA strands can be understood by autoradiography, gel electrophoresis method, similarly like the Sanger method. This is how the reaction step looks here. In the instrument form, there is a cathode and the anode, the power supply is there. The mixture of DNA fragments of different sizes, the separate tubes are being entered, and in the B form we can see here the gel patterns can be obtained, and further the longer fragments arrange themselves on the top, the shorter fragments arrange themselves below, and we can understand the autoradiography pattern. So cleavage at So in the last slide we have seen how the Maxam-Gilbert method worked. This is just the summarized form of the Maxam-Gilbert method, where we can see the 5' sequence is being labeled with the phosphate 32. Cleavage occurred at A plus G, G, C and C plus T, that is a chemical modification, and we can see wherever the sequence has to be cleaved, they are being shown here in the bands. A plus G, this is the fragment, this is another one. So dependingly the larger one gets deposited on the top of the gel bending pattern, and the lower one gets attached below. This is the difference between the Maxim Gilbert and the Sanger method. This method, the Maxim method, works as we have seen is on the chemical modification and the DNA cleavage, whereas the Sanger sequencing method, the process of selective incorporation, the chain is directly terminated with the help of dideoxynucleotides DDNTPs, which we have seen earlier in the Sanger method. Further, these we have already discussed based upon their development methods, the years, how they are being named on. Maxim method is also called as chemical modification method for sequencing, and Sanger method is called as chemical chain termination method. This method, the Maxim method, uses large amount of hazardous chemicals like radioactive materials, hydrazines, which is not good. This method is highly sensitive and highly specific, whereas the Sanger method is less hazardous and less sensitive and less specific. Just to summarize, there are many more sequencing methods available these days in the market to understand the DNA sequencing pattern. Earlier, for genome sequencing, few steps are common in all the methods. For the genome DNA, the genomic DNA is being fragmented here. These are the 1990s year old generation methods, whereas the second generation methods and the third generation are the latest one, like NGS. The second generation are the Sanger's methods or the Maxim Gilbert methods, pyrosequencing. So human genomic project, the genomic DNA was taken in 1990s, and further the fragments created. Same way here the fragments are created, and here the first step is common in all. Second is, they have used in 1990s, they used to use the vectors to carry the genomic DNA and replicate it inside, and further the DNA sequence is being amplified. That means the copy numbers are created. Here in second generation and third generation, the difference is here the enzymatic modification, what we have learned in the Maxim Gilbert method, is being performed and the DNA is being amplified. Base detection means we need to understand the presence of any particular nucleotide base. For example, if here is T, here is G, here is A and C and A. So here the DNA, the fragments are being amplified and the enzymatic modification occurs. Further, the base detection appears here. Here in the third generation method, we need not amplify the DNA. We just need to do the enzymatic modification and further the base are being detected. So that means you waste very less chemicals. To continue that same slide further, here in the 1990s human genomic DNA, they are being in the vectors, they are being amplified, and further the sequences of the clone fragments are taken, which is a very tedious process, and they are being assembled, and further we can read the DNA sequence here. Whereas in the other second and the third generation method, the short read sequence are being taken, they are being aligned, and then they are being variant identified as per their location in the chromosome, which are great methods to understand the each base presence where in the chromosomes. So that means the DNA sequencing has become more easy as compared to the earlier generation methods. There are various applications to use DNA sequencing. So first one is epigenomics. That means we need to understand the plants and the multicellular organisms. They have the cell differentiation process, which is driven by variation of the epigenetic marks encoded on the DNA or chromatin. Such variations can be stable, may be heritable, may not change the underlying DNA sequence of the genome. So this is very important instrument to understand the plants and the multicellular organism cell differentiations, or we can say in terms of the DNA sequences which are available in the plants and the multicellular organism, which are having the function in the cell differentiation can be understood by the DNA sequence or sequencing. Further, the small RNA can also be characterized reading their DNA sequences or their RNA sequences. So this is very useful in the field of genomic maintenance and plant response to environmental stress. Transcriptome assembly and profiling, the sequence of DNA whatever has been synthesized or the mRNA isolate which have been crucial in the gene expression analysis, discovery or determination of splicing forms of genes can be understood by DNA sequencing. Next is genotyping by sequencing. The NGS, that is the next generation or the third generation methods, are massive polymorphism discovery where seriously restricted by the cost and time limitation in the design, validation and deployment of molecular markers. So this field or this instrument can also help to understand and reduce the cost and reduce the time to understand the molecular markers which are very much essential these days to understand any kind of diseases. QTL and eQTL mapping, HEP-maps, these are the qualitative analysis or the quantitative analysis for so many things we can see below, like plant yields, flowering time, sugar content. Their DNA sequences play the major role, or the disease resistance play the major role to understand what better can be done to these genes if we understand their DNA sequencing pattern, and we can create them more better to they can get resistant to the diseases, their sugar content can be increased, their flowering time can be reduced, their plant yield can be increased more. So these qualitative traits or the QTL analysis can be done only after we understand their gene sequence patterns. Yes, this field is very important for understanding the markers in the field of diseases. Maybe we can see here SNPs and indels. Once we understand the gene sequence pattern or the DNA sequence pattern, we know if there is one base change in a complete DNA sequence is termed to be a single nucleotide polymorphism, which can lead to various diseases. So one has to understand the DNA sequence for if there is any genetically linked problem or maybe an SNP is present inside. So this field is this instrument is very important to understand this. Lastly, DNA sequence of the microorganisms is also very important to understand their genomic data. So microbiota for plants, microbiota or microorganisms normally in the environment can be understood well if their DNA sequence can be read by the use of DNA sequencer, because it can also help us to be, some organisms can be discovered and can be grown in cultures in the laboratory. So this is very important method. At last, I would like to conclude, once we do this full process, what we have learned in Maxim Gilbert and Sanger sequencing or other methods, I've shown you some pictures. So we can conclude, after the full process is being performed, we achieve all the data in the computers, okay, and what the results what we achieve in computers look like this kind of diagram. So what is this diagram about? How do you interpret this? As I've shown in the very first slide, the red lines are for adenine, then green lines and blue lines specify or dignifies each of the nucleotide base. There are 4 bases A, G, C, T. So by reading this, there is the sequence which up comes here, and we can understand that in the DNA sequence there is A attached, there is T attached, there is C attached, so that we can understand well. This picture is called as chromatograph. This is very important, and by this only we can judge what is the sequence stretch or the read we have got from the DNA sequencer. These are few of the references. You can go and have a look. There's a detailed notification about what is the DNA sequencing method and how the DNA sequencer works.